You know exactly what you should be doing with your money. You have known for at least 2 years. You know you should be investing. You know that compound interest, the thing your parents never taught you about, is the only legal way to make money while you sleep. You know that every month you wait costs you more than the month before it, and you have not started. This is not about money. The Stoics knew exactly what this is about, and it took them about 30 seconds to diagnose it. In the next 10 minutes, I am not going to tell you what to invest in. I am not going to recommend a brokerage. I am not going to give you a portfolio, because that is not your problem. Your problem is something Marcus Aurelius wrote about with such precision that reading his words feels like being caught doing something you were not supposed to. He identified the exact psychological mechanism that keeps intelligent people who know exactly what they should do, from doing it, and he gave it a name. That name, and what to do about it, is what this video is. Let me tell you what you have told yourself. You have said, "I will start when I know more about it." You have said, "The market is too volatile right now." You have said, "I do not have enough to make it worth it yet." You have said, "I am waiting for the right time." Every single one of those sentences sounds like wisdom. None of them are. They are all the same thing. Dressed in different clothes, they are fear. And that fear, every single month it continues, costs you a precise and calculable amount of money. Here are the actual numbers. If you invested $200 per month, starting at age 25, at the stock market's historical average return of 10%, by age 65, you would have $1.27 million. If you waited until age 35 to start, same $200 per month, same market, you would have $452,000. The 10 years you waited cost you $820,000, not $200 a month, not $24,000 a year. $820,000. Marcus Aurelius gave this thing a name. He called it Akrasia. It is a Greek word that the Stoics inherited from Aristotle, and it means acting against your own better judgment, not ignorance, not confusion. You know what you should do. You do not do it. Akrasia. This is not a modern problem. This is not a you problem. This is the oldest documented human struggle in the history of philosophy. Aristotle wrote about it in 350 BC. The Stoics spent 400 years developing the cure for it, and nobody in the entire modern financial industry has ever told you about it. Marcus Aurelius did not just name Akrasia. He lived with it. He wrote in his private journal, the journal he kept for himself and no one else, about the specific suffering of knowing what the right action is and feeling yourself resist it. He was emperor of Rome. He had unlimited power. He had philosophers as personal advisors, and he still struggled with Akrasia every single day. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He was not writing that for inspiration. He was writing it as a command to himself, because he needed to hear it. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The market is an outside event. The timing is an outside event. Your knowledge level is not an outside event. Your decision is not an outside event. Those are yours." Epictetus, the former slave who became the most quoted philosopher in history, went further than Marcus. He said, "First say to yourself what you would be. then do what you have to do. Not research everything first. Not wait until conditions are perfect. First say who you would be. Then do. He was describing the only solution to Akrasia that the Stoics ever found effective. Not more information. Not better timing. Identity. Deciding who you are first, and letting the action follow from that. Here is the specific fear underneath the excuses. It is not that you do not know enough. It is not that the timing is wrong. It is that if you start, you might be wrong. You might invest, and the market might drop. You might choose the wrong fund. You might look back and wish you had done it differently. And right now, by not starting, you cannot be wrong. The Stoics had a word for this kind of thinking, too. They called it hiding behind possibility to avoid the responsibility of action. And Marcus Aurelius had no patience for it. The first Stoic fix is the one no financial advisor will ever give you, because it has nothing to do with finance. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be." So, before you open any app, before you research any fund, before you do a single financial thing, answer this question. Are you the kind of person who invests, or the kind of person who thinks about investing? This is not a trick question. It is the only question, because every action you have taken until now has been the action of someone who thinks about investing. The Stoic fix is not a strategy. It is a decision about identity. And identity, the Stoics believed, always precedes action. Here is how you do this. Tonight, get a notebook. Open it to a blank page, and write this sentence. I am the kind of person who invests a small amount every single month, regardless of market conditions, regardless of how much I know, because the alternative is already costing me more than any mistake I could make. Read it back to yourself, not as motivation, as a statement of fact about who you have decided to be. The Stoics called this Paralysis, the act of choosing your own character before circumstances choose it for you. It is the only thing Epictetus said was ever truly yours. The reason this works, and the reason every other financial strategy fails for people who struggle with Akrasia, is that strategy requires constant willpower. Identity does not. If you decide you are the kind of person who does not smoke, you do not need willpower every time someone offers you a cigarette. You simply are not that person. If you decide you are the kind of person who invests every month, you do not need to motivate yourself on the 5th of every month. You simply are that person. The action follows the identity, not the other way around. Epictetus said, if you would be a writer, write. If you would be an investor, invest. Not when you know more, not when the market is right. Now, as that person, today. The second reason people do not invest, and the one nobody admits, is the fear of watching their money go down, not losing it entirely, just watching the number get smaller. After they put it in, this fear is so powerful that it stops people from participating in a market that has gone up for 100 years straight. The Stoics had a practice for exactly this. They called it Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evil, or in modern language, deliberately imagining the worst that could happen before it happens, not to frighten yourself, to free yourself from the fear of it. Seneca practiced this every single day. He would sit quietly and imagine the worst financial outcome he could face. His fortune gone, his investments collapsed, his income stopped, and then he would ask himself, could I survive this? Almost always, the answer was yes. And in that answer, The fear dissolved. Because what we fear is never the thing itself. It is our story about the thing. The market does not drop and destroy you. Your story about what a market drop means, about you, your choices, your intelligence, that is what feels unbearable. Seneca's practice removes the story and leaves only the fact, which is almost always survivable. Here is the modern version of Seneca's practice. Before you make your first investment, open a notebook and write, "My investment drops 40% in the first year. I have lost X dollars on paper. I will not sell. I will continue to invest monthly. Because I know this has happened to every investor in history, and every investor in history who did not sell, recovered, and then some." Write it before it happens. Sign it. This is your investment policy, not a portfolio allocation, a declaration of who you are when the number gets smaller. Because that person, the one who does not sell when it drops, is the only investor who ever actually gets wealthy. The third Stoic fix is the one that removes the last remaining excuse. I do not have enough to make it worth starting. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of wealth. Hold to what you are and what you can do. What you can do, right now, with what you have right now, is invest something, not enough, something." The Stoics believed in what they called the virtue of beginning, the idea that starting, however small, changes your identity immediately. The person who invests $20 this month is fundamentally different from the person who thinks about investing. Not because of the $20, because of what the act of investing says about who that person has decided to be. Here is what happens next. Month 1, you invest $20. Month 2, you invest $20. Month 3, you invest $35. Because something happens. When you become the person who invests, you start to look for ways to invest more. Not because someone told you to, because your identity is now aligned with building, not spending. The Stoics called this the compounding of virtue. Every small right action makes the next right action easier, not because of discipline, because of identity. The market compounds your money. Virtue compounds your character. Both started as small as you need them to be, but only if they are started. Every wealthy person you have ever admired started with a first investment. Every one of them, and every single one of them, had exactly the same excuse available to them that you have right now. The difference between them and the person who never started is not intelligence, not timing, not information. It is the single decision to be a different kind of person. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Waste no more time researching what a good investor should do. Be one, not when you know enough, not when the market is right, not when you have more money. Now, as the person you have decided to be, starting with whatever you have. 3 things, tonight. 1. Write the identity statement. I am the kind of person who invests every month. 1 sentence in a notebook, tonight. 2. Write the investment policy. What you will do when it drops. Before it drops. Sign it. 3. Invest something. $20, $50, whatever you have. The amount is irrelevant. The identity is everything. Not next week. Not when you know more. Tonight. As the person you have decided to be. The Stoics did not wait to be ready. They decided who they were, and then they acted like it. Your turn. If this is the video that finally made you start, tell me in the comments. And if you know someone who has been waiting, send it to them. Subscribe for more of this every week. I will see you in the next one.